Have you noticed that Texas is growing? All over the state, land is being fragmented and developed. If you're a landowner and the future of your property concerns you, a conservation easement may be what you're looking for.
A conservation easement is a legal agreement between a landowner and an entity, often a land trust, that can hold the other side of that agreement.
The holder of the conservation easement must be a government entity or a qualified conservation organization that works with landowners to achieve their long-term goals.
A private landowner voluntarily may enter into a conservation easement in order to permanently protect the natural, cultural, or ag production value of their land. And the entity or the land trust that holds the easement ensures that those protections remain in place. A conservation easement is not a transfer of ownership of the property itself out of the hands of the private landowner. A conservation easement only protects the voluntary restrictions that a landowner wishes to put in place. Common deed restrictions under a conservation easement might include prevention of subdivision or future development on the property that is being entered into the easement.
Once in place, conservation easements are legally binding for all future owners of the land. This protection made a conservation easement a practical solution for Kelli and Karl Ebel.
This easement is forever. There are going to be things in the future that we can't even imagine, we can't even plan about. So the main restrictions are something that Kelli and I are good with. We want to see those. I mean, you can't subdivide it, turn it into a subdivision. You can't just plow it all under. We don't want that to happen here. What some people would see as a restriction, we see as a benefit.
Our conservation easement really gives us a security, a sense of well-being that long after we pass, the land will continue to be protected, and that all the creatures that live here and thrive on this prairie ecology will continue to exist.
Conservation easements can impact the current market value of the land.
The value of the property that remains in the ownership of the landowner could be reduced due to the loss of the ability to subdivide it. The value of a conservation easement is the difference between the value of a property with no restrictions, which could be subdivided and developed for a great financial gain to that private landowner. It's the difference between that value and the value of the property with deed restrictions that prevent that development. So if there were a property that were worth $500,000, if it could be developed and subdivided, and it's worth $200,000 if it can't be subdivided, then the difference in those two values, that $300,000 difference, is the value of the conservation easement. And that value can be used as the base for the tax relief and for incentive payments.
Many times, the holding entity will compensate landowners for the conservation easement value. In the Ebels case, this was the Native Prairies Association of Texas, because the Ebels land is a very special prairie with many rare plants.
So in this conservation easement that we are in, we have a grazing management plan. The Native Prairie Association people are not grazing people. So they said, look, Mr. Ebel, you work with an NRCS grazing specialist and y'all come up with a grazing plan. And the grazing specialist, they liked what we were doing here. They could see the change in the ecology that we'd created. They were like, hey, you know, this rotational grazing plan that you do, controlled burning that you do, we want to keep doing this. We just need to capture it on paper. That's all we really need to do. And that's kind of what we did. One of the things that we're really proud of is that we're able to continue doing what we do, making a living with livestock. That is our sole living. Continue to do that with the conservation easement in place.
We had a few reservations. We as Texans are very proud of our ownership. and no one likes too many restrictions on land use. Yet, when we look at the current numbers of habitat loss and the decline in so many different species, we really felt that the restrictions of a conservation easement prevent land abuse in the long term and long after we're gone.
I think as we look into the future and as places like this become more and more rare, they're actually going to be appreciated, and the value will probably go up. When you talk about looking at the possibility of doing a conservation easement, there's some great land trusts out there, and those folks are really easy to talk to, and they will give you a straight shot on how this works. They're not trying to work it. They want to do conservation easements and protect as much of Texas and these open lands as they can protect. And they're very good at it and very good people to work with.
Texas Parks and Wildlife provides grant funding for conservation easements on privately owned working lands through the Texas Farms and Ranch Lands Conservation Program. It protects ranches and farms from fragmentation and development through agricultural conservation easements, enhancing the ecological and agricultural productivity of these lands for the future. The Texas Land Trust can also answer questions and help landowners find the right land trust partners to support their projects. For more information and links to resources, see the video description below.